And I might add, what a beautiful headquarters it is. Steve Wartsoa, the head of our RTC campaign this year, thank you. I don't think we'll have a more beautiful headquarters than this one. So truly though, Steve and his team have worked very hard and will continue to do so through Election Day. So please give a round of applause to him and all of his efforts. I have the debate last night on my mind, and I know many of you were there, and hopefully all of you saw it on TV. If you didn't have the chance to be there in person, you saw Dave Tice debating his opponent. I think they were both gentlemen. I think that it was a very respectful encounter. I think it speaks well of our opponent, but it speaks a whole lot more about Dave, about the leadership that he's given the town. For the last 4 years with Peter, and we are so happy that he is willing to continue to lead, to participate in this great political partnership that is the Tessie Tice campaign and the Tessie Tice team. But I have to tell you, to hear Peter Tessie debate his opponents, I guess there were two opponents there. It was kind of interesting because from at least the viewer's perspective, off on the left, as it should be, was the other party's nominee, and she was certainly respectful. But there was the carping and the criticizing. You weren't quite sure why or where that was going to go, and there was a whole lot of talk about spending our money and how we just don't have enough debt in Greenwich. How many of you think you need more debt? That's the first thing you think you need when you get up. I need more debt. Why don't I have more debt? And why is my debt service so low? I need to raise my debt service. I need to be spending more money and paying more money every month. We didn't hear a whole lot about revenue, and we didn't hear a whole lot about how it's all going to get paid for. And what you heard on the other side was not only a textbook about what we believe as Republicans, because Peter Tessie is a great Republican, and he explained how important it is to this town that we continue our Republican and our town tradition of modest and predictable tax increases, of responsible spending, of funding our town's needs, of unprecedented funding for both maintaining and improving our infrastructure, but doing it all while retaining our AAA credit rating, our ability to borrow and access the credit markets as needed responsibly, the way Greenwich has done it, the way Greenwich does do it under Republican leadership, and the way our town will continue to do it, because make no mistake, we are going to win this campaign this year.
We've heard the rhetoric before. It's like they took out the playbook, they dusted it off, and they said, here, Beth, go run with it. I call it cheap political rhetoric, or CPR. It's somewhat ironic that their selectman is a paramedic, because that's what he does day in, day out, but he does the true form of CPR that saves lives. They throw out cheap political rhetoric, and it really demeans the value of the electorate. Last night we heard a lot about what they consider the issues to be. And the big one is borrowing. It was touched on very eloquently by several people here tonight. There's no mistake, the town of Greenwich has had the enviable reputation it does because of prudent fiscal management. I pulled out all the rating agency reports for the short-term instruments that the town issues to pay for our capital projects. Page after page reiterates the strong confidence in the town's management, its financial management and operations, in the fact that it has a debt limit and that it uses short-term instruments. It also should be clear, and has been stated by so many people, that clearly if you're borrowing over the shorter term, your rates are lower, and therefore that's less interest to pay back on the debt, and you have better control. That to me is very common sense, and it's very much the antithesis of what's happening in Washington and Hartford. If we want the Democrats to do for us in Greenwich what Dan Malloy and the Democratic legislature did for us in Hartford, then by gosh, elect them. Because they have ruined the state of Connecticut, but we don't want them to do that to Greenwich. And so that's why this election is very important.